Well, started around yesterday, meeting tonight. Well, let's see where I'm at here.
Prayer,
Yeah, would you be a little session right for us? Thank you.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for all the blessings. First of all, you spoken to us. Thank you for your love and mercy. Thank you for these folks, Lord, that are enduring to your work, Lord. Today, the society is growing and not always doing well. We need wisdom and guidance to run these commissions, these counties. We pray for that, Lord. Pray for all those that are sick. Pray for any that are not saved. Bless their heart, protest their hearts that come to you. Pray for leaders of our nation, Lord. You know their needs. Protect them, Lord. Be with them as they carry out the county commission duties tonight, Lord. To get out with the cross our prayer and thanks. Amen.
Okay, would you let us in the pledge?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, as always, we all work as one. Try to at least hear what's going on and try to make things better in the community. And that being said, we have respect for one another. And thank you very much.
So we're just going to go through, we had a commission meeting on Monday, so we'll run through everything that, if you didn't tune in to Must See TV for that meeting, and we're just going to run through basically the agendas and kind of tell you what happened and how we voted, and some upcoming meetings and dates. Today, we also, I think most of you know, we've been trying to get a board position, some representation for the utility district, Northwest Utility District. Our district is the only one serviced by them, but all the board members are Hamilton County folks. So they we just got it today. They picked the 3 seats that are coming up to open. The people are not vacating. They want to continue. So the list, I'll pass this around, and I went a little bit back and forth with the general manager, Adam, about, he feels that we are represented. I said, well, you're not represented unless you have a board position. Anybody can go down there and argue the bill during the meeting, but I don't consider that representative. So I think we're going to follow up a little bit on this because I know Ed Gravitt was working on this. We went down and supported him in a meeting a couple months ago where we kind of laid the case out for him. But it's kind of an odd bunch down there. So if anybody wants to see kind of the letter and who's kind of what they got, the letter with the names for those 3 positions, they picked 3 names, and all they did was recycle the 3 people. It's kind of crazy. So that goes to Mayor Womp. That list, that's where it went. He's got, I think, 30 days to take a look at the list. He can reject it, and then they got to come up with another list, but I can't use the same names. Last year he didn't do anything, so then it goes back to them, and then they pick. So they'll just pick the top name off of each one of those. He can just shake it up. He can pick whoever he wants. So that's how that's going to work. We'll just keep you informed. We're going to ask for the bylaws because I looked up the actual Tennessee code. We want to see what their bylaws say because the way I read the code, if they have customers in multi-districts, the way they are multi-counties, then they have a provision of how you're supposed to elect people. So that should be in their bylaws, and we should be able to get a copy of that and see how they have that worded. They didn't tell us about that when we were down there.
Can I say something out loud?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what the protocol is. Do you have a direct line to Weston? Do y'all communicate?
No, I don't. No.
Do you want him to disrupt it? Because I know him pretty well.
Yeah. We submitted 2 resumes. We asked people, do you want to submit a resume?
I can contact him tomorrow if you want and just say.
We're not represented. We got development that's, getting ready to happen, more development up here. situation we're in, right? I mean, lots are selling off and stuff, so
Okay.
there's gonna be water issues, you know, in the future, and we don't have a say in it. I mean, basically the way it happens up here is county executive, you know, when he goes out and gets these grants, just like this water project that happened a year ago, last November. We didn't know the money was authorized, I guess this was before my time, but for a tank up on Winter Rock, the water tank.
Yeah.
It was grant money. And the decision was made to shift that to this, you know, add a new water main on the other side here. Nobody knew about it until they started laying pipe down the side of the road.
Well, I know I've got your number somewhere, but I'll get it again, and I'll say that you'll be in contact with him.
Hand again.
I'd say be looking for it, and he almost always responds.
Everybody's supposed to talk to him, but
He's got that whole McDonald's farm.
I'd rather if we pursue our own way of
Sure.
contacting him.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so, for anybody that wasn't at the last couple meetings, commission goes, I started this last year, we go and have a retreat where we do strategic planning. My experience for the first time last year, I would call it strategic planning. Basically, we went there, the commissioners put up on a board, we get a bunch of briefs, and then we put our top priorities up on the board, and then everybody votes on it. To me, it looked like it was already preordained before we got in there what the top priorities were going to be. Some of the ones that we had here, we did a very quick session, like about a week before. We're going to do another one, January 10th. We'll do our own strategic plan for the district and identify our priorities. Look at what we did last year and see if anything's changed, and everybody's welcome to attend that and contribute. I think if we don't look at where we're going and set direction for ourselves up here, nobody else is going to do for it. And then we'll try our best to plug those in. We did get some of them up on the board. I think 2 out of the 5 were things that we needed, but they were common needs for other districts too. But at least we got them on the board. Yeah.
You may do that next week. That proclamation,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, on that ag traffic safety intent we got, it was to put signs up like in the around these farmers. When you have your tractor out on the roads and stuff like that, to advise people that we have farming equipment on the roads.
This is what the sign looks like.
Yes, and that was third intended.
I don't know. We need to find out if we're getting any signs.
You need
We
one.
got farms up there.
Ever got anyone around here?
All right.
So, that's for the farmers.
So resolution 808, that was we're under a kind of a general law, different the way we're organized and the way we operate. So for our bids that the county puts out, the county executive, who's basically the CFO for the county, had a $10,000 limit. So what that means is anything under $10,000 he can put out for bid. He doesn't have to get the commission's permission, and he doesn't have to, he can sole source it. He doesn't have to compete anything. So the resolution, I voted no on this because it went from 10,000 to 25,000 is what he asked for. I think that number's too large for the amount of bids that go through that office. The office has a $554,000 budget. That's what his office, what his budget is. So I kind of felt like he's not overloaded in this. If he does need to hire a person because the volume gets too high, he can do that. He certainly has a budget. So that's the way I felt, and that's the way I voted. The other thing that I thought that does for business is if you start putting out those kind of bids, things like small businesses get hurt because there's no competition then at that level.
Yeah, you have a lot of nepotism when you have $25,000.
Of course we got outvoted. Chester voted no too. Yeah, that's right. All right, county flood damage prevention, zoning. I put that in parentheses because that's what it is. We talked about it at the last meeting. Resolution 806 passed. We voted no. it's, the way it was, there were public hearings, I think 2 of them, and we went and, some of our folks went. This is, the way it was pitched was the federal government is forcing us to do this. Well, yes and no. Back in 2011, there was the previous resolution the county passed so they could participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. Right? That's like all those people that only got $700 checks from FEMA when they had that recent hurricane. So, I mean, you can get the insurance, it's government insurance. If you have a government secured, loan, then they're going to force you to do it. I mean, that's been there. But when we started looking at the details of this thing, I mean, a lot of people don't think it affects us up here. They think it's because of most of the valley down there, the city's in a floodplain. And they think, that's not us up in the mountains. But there's a lot of detail in that resolution that they talk about. The one that got me was unmapped streams. We got a lot of unmapped streams. So that was in a special flood zone category. So it was in a zone. So, and the maps, FEMA maps aren't really even published till the 28th of this month. They don't come out final until the 28th. So why are we voting for this on the 17th? So anyway, we brought all those issues up. The other thing that I had to know about is when they passed this in 2011, they stood up a floodplain, planning commission, floodplain planning commission. I didn't even know that existed. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so there's no representation for the mountains, but they never had a case come before them, is what I understand.
Is that the complaint part or the?
No.
Okay.
That's I don't know what they do. Because I couldn't find any, I went into the clerk's office and tried to track it down. It wasn't part of the resolution. The resolution actually had, like this one, regional planning, what was it called? Regional, it didn't say floodplain, regional zoning basically is what it was, appeals board, that's what it was. So they already had that stood up. But what this was is it reiterated that fact. What we said is, why don't we add the words floodplain? If you're going to, because we kind of figured this was going to pass, so they did add that to the document. That's kind of, thought it was too broad by just not, they have all this language about floodplain, and then they got the zoning board of appeals, and it wasn't specific to floodplain. So we got that added, because to me I thought, well, that's a big Trojan horse. So they could in the future change it, they could just scratch out that floodplain and all of a sudden we got the big zoning thing in place. That's what we were concerned with. What else? And then we said that planning commission, why do you need them anymore? Nobody knew what they did anyway. So it was like, well, if you're going to pass this resolution, then make that planning commission now this regional floodplain zoning appeals board. So they basically, become that board instead of having a planning commission and a zoning board of appeals. But it was crazy. I don't know if anybody even looked at that. So we did get that in there.
And then also, she went and asked them to put somebody in a different district, have one district here to represent us again.
We feel that we should have one rep from every district on that zoning appeals board for floodplain. Especially with the new maps that, redrawn the boundaries. Some of the backstory, because I did call the TEMA guy, with all the disasters and the federal government shelling out money, I think they redrew the maps. I mean, some of it was probably to, face the reality that there was a lot more, climate issues, that, a lot more flooding and natural disasters. But also, if you redraw the boundaries, they're hoping that more people buy that insurance so more money gets into that pool, right? Because I know they're having trouble covering what they already have. And there was no opt-out clause in there. So 3 commissioners voted no on this. 2 of them are here. We just thought it was premature, not knowing what the final maps looked like. And then the language that's in there right now. We just thought it was like just that big Z word. It was fairly undefined, and it still is when you read it. I have it if anybody wants to read it. If anybody wants any of these documents, Van, do you have a blank piece of paper? Okay.
I've got,
If anybody wants any of these documents sent to them so they can read in detail, put your name and email address on here and I'll send you whatever you want. I mean, all this is all public info. I'm just going to put which documents. Anyway, if you want any of these, please just, I'll just leave it right here.
So why didn't they vote on that early before the map come out? What reason did they give?
Well, the state mandated that the counties had to pass it by the 28th of November.
So the state mandated.
Well, the whole thing is why do you put something to a vote if you're mandating it? They should have just said you're going to do it, period. You know, I mean, yeah, so we're the bad guys now, I guess. That's the way that works.
Well, not.
Okay.
They should have had a map out, you know.
Yeah, they had the draft ones online. There was I went into that and it was hard to get. Yeah, it was very hard to get to them. Okay, Travis, you got anything on that? Because I know you were one of the people that helped me think through that.
Nothing new, like an hour talking like this.
Okay.
As far as the flood, but it's good. They don't know that pretty well.
Okay. All right, you want to do the next one?
yeah, good. On that restoration of the courthouse, that grant we have, it's supposed to be a non-recurring grant.
No, it's a non-match.
Non-match.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to pay it in that level.
Yeah, we don't have to match any. It's a zero match grant. Basically what we voted on was this, it's a grant, it was to allow the county to put a bid in for the grant. Or to put an application in, not a bid, but an application in for this grant. It's max $500,000.
But we have.
Actually, no, for this one, there is a match. There's a 5% match. It's $500,000 max is the grant award, and then we do have to match. It's a 5% match, so that one passed. They want to fix the courthouse, up windows, foundation work. That's what it said in the.
You know, I went for this, but I had some concerns that we've got a 150-year-old building. Water's good under the basement. You know the courthouse down there, about what I do. And you know, a 100-something-year-old in the basement, total thing mixed in water and concrete. Sometimes when you alter a thing, you could come across some serious problems. But I still went for him to do this. But I had some real good thoughts about it. We started to put a roof on this thing with weight on it. And we had the engineers check it. All the walls are where water run down for dry rotting. The timbers inside the brick they're not real stable. And sometimes when you alter, move, shake, you know, stuff happens. Your cheese fall off your damn cracker. So you lose it. And possibly have somebody get killed. But you know, that's something that I'm only one of many. I work in construction, I know how it works.
I guess we'll deal with this if we get any grant money.
Yeah.
We get into the details, because this was just to apply for the grant.
Yes, Papa.
So the other thing I put on here, we talked this has been in the legislature for, well, this whole legislative year. I think they're still out. They don't go back, I think, till January now, but this one's important because this is basically, it's taking, allowing the counties to share in the real estate transfer tax. So I looked up like what our collection was for, okay, so year to date in 25, it'll be about, okay, so it's almost 600,000. So if we get half of that, I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of money, 250, 300,000. That would go, originally the argument in the legislature was, and it's still not resolved, is it was supposed to go to road department, highway department. And we all know that we need money there because they're always short, statewide, not just in all the counties. But then the mayors wanted part of it. So that ball was going back and forth. And I think where it was before they left, to recess is half of it would go, to the county, and the other half would go to the highway department. That's the way they left it. It's not passed yet. I would urge, we can bring it to the next meeting. I had it at the last meeting, kind of like contact your representatives up there and tell them to pass this. Because we do need it. I had a flyer on it.
So it wouldn't increase the transfer tax, it would just send it back to the counties?
Half of it, we would share half of it.
So what happened, where's the money go now? Just to the state general budget?
Yeah, it goes to the state. We don't see any of that. So that's actually a good deal. Okay, so budget committee, yes, that's me. Charitable nonprofit policy update. So y'all remember, like months ago, we flagged when we were going through the budget process, we do give donations to nonprofits here in the county. It's like something like 18 or 20. They're usually the same old. And I pointed out that some of these people that they weren't 501s, because their tax exempt status was dissolved because they haven't submitted their paperwork to the IRS in the last 3 years. So the way the law reads is that, we cannot appropriate money if they're not legit. So this has been going back and forth in the commission for a while, and then there's a draft policy document for the county because we don't really have one. And it needs to be, to me, it needs to be clearly written. What's the criteria? Here's the law. How does that map into, if somebody comes in and asks for money? Well, you should just be able to go down the checklist and decide, first of all, are they legal? Can we appropriate the money? And then there's a couple other things in the law that, we would ask them. And then the budget committee or somebody would get that pile. And right now it just goes to the county executive. It goes in a file. So I looked at all those this year, and I can tell you there's when the check goes out, there's that thing in there, and then there's like a memorandum that says, I want my X amount of money that was appropriate. That's about as far as the paperwork goes. To me, that's not accountable. We want to know where the money, the law basically says that, that they should tell you what they're going to spend it on, like when they come in for the ask. I mean, it's just common sense. I need this money for X, Y, Z. And then, at the end, they should, tell you, what they spent it on. I mean, to me, then it's, then we know that, they did what they were supposed to do. So, still trying to push this through with the nonprofit policy. We were supposed to discuss it. There is a draft. They derailed the meeting. A couple of commissioners derailed the meeting. For what purpose, I don't know. But we never got to reviewing this policy. So we're still on this because we think it's important. It's a lot of money for a small county.
Yeah, how much money goes to?
About $360,000 across the.
So the commissioners that derailed it probably are affiliated in some of those nonprofits, and they don't.
They are. Yeah, they are. So, yeah.
Also, remember it's posted online, the meeting, the video, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, so we started documenting the committee meetings. If you all just go to the commission meeting, you're not going to get the context of what's going on in the committees, what's being said, because when it comes out to the floor, it's already been, there's a motion to take it out of committee and put it on the floor, and you don't know all the back channel stuff that's going on. And I think that's important. So we have the video from that, and we'll post it. It's not popular with the rest of the folks that I sit with on the commission, but I think that the people ought to know that. You shouldn't have to just go to the courthouse. They don't stream those meetings, in our opinion. I think we thought that they should.
It's easy.
So this is a stream that you provide.
Yeah, we have it recorded. It's not streamed by, BTC Fiber films the commission meetings
Right,
and
I've
streams
seen
it.
those,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we don't stream it, we just,
So these are the meetings before the main meeting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that would be interesting.
That get till 9 to take about it before we're
How do you
going.
find those?
where do you have them posted?
All of them, with the
So,
names, Commissioner Buzz.
Commissioners Buzz, the Lewis Chapel Commissioners, so that's our site. It's broadcast
On
only, we
Facebook.
don't do discussion board on there. There's plenty of other Facebook sites that if you all want to get into that, but we don't do that. We put information out. If somebody wants to contact us and, talk about it further, we'll do that, but we're not going to sit there and do the Facebook gossip thing.
Quick question. So right now, as far as the 501s go, how are the initial numbers drafted up to go into the budget where the donations decided? They
Yeah,
just
that's
throw the number out there?
Yeah, that's exactly.
So then y'all vote on it and appropriate funds, but in the end, the person that's supposed to make sure everything's the way it should be by law would be the county executive, correct?
Yes. The numbers to me are arbitrary. So like for the fire departments, they'll look at what we gave them last year, and then you'll have people sitting there, like some of the fire chiefs will come in and it's like, they never have enough money, and that's true. But, we don't have a good mechanism of setting, how did you get to that number? We don't have criteria or anything that we use. It's just like somebody says, well, last year we gave them 30,000, let's give them 40 this year. And it rattles around in the committee, and we'll come back to it maybe at the next meeting. And then I'll give you a good, and then there's some that we don't consider. There was one that came in at the very end when we were getting ready to put the, what's that company, or what's that? Sequatchie Haven, okay? So they came in last minute and they wanted $75,000 to do some renovation on, they're really old units, they're 1970 vintage, they're supposed to be elderly housing.
Dennis will work that there in the,
Yeah, but they're two-story, they're in really bad shape, and he wanted $75,000, and then one of the commissioners said, well, let's give them $100,000. So we voted no, and then they gave him $100,000, and it was like, it was crazy. It was like, how do we we're just like giving money away.
throw it out.
So anyway,
Too much money. You got too much money.
we have,
That's the problem.
the problem isn't that this county does not have money. That's not a problem, guaranteed. All right, mineral severance tax. All right, so we were pushing this last year because we we called it an integrated road plan. Part of the problem is we have roads up here we need done. There's, obviously not enough money to go around the county, so how does that thing get prioritized? And that's really, a lot of people don't understand that we don't have no authority. We as commissioners don't have any authority over highway department at all. Plus, it is illegal for us to get involved. We cannot sit there and get into their day-to-day management of any of the elected department officials. We cannot do that. We're prohibited by law. And a lot of people misconstrue that and think that, well, you guys aren't working hard enough to get our roads done. Believe me, we are talking to the road supervisor. We do have, communications back and forth. I can tell you that, the list that we put together with him about this time last year, a lot of this got done. Did it get completely done? No. But like Henson Gap Road, he claims 3 miles, but it's 2.75. So we're still talking about that. But he still needs to finish with the reflectors and that kind of stuff. And all the way out the Hamilton County line, but it's too late in the year now. And we're going to talk in about 2 weeks. He's got a couple other things that he's doing. We're going to make a similar list. Because in January, the commission votes on the road list and approves it every year. So we'll get to him before that, and we'll make up another list here, see what he thinks the roads are, and we'll bring it back here and, see if there's any other heartburn that our folks up here have with that list, or what his plan is. There's still time to, maybe put our, 2 cents in. So anyway, Shadowland, it was a tar and chip that got done. I have distances too, because that all translates to the budget. Forest Knoll. T-Crow did not get done. Wright Road down here, that's been on his list for a while, that got done. Greenbrier did not get finished. That road has not been finished. It's just a big cul-de-sac at the end. And then Henson Gap down to the valley, that's going to be a big ticket item. We tried to get Senator Gardenhire and work with the other legislatures, and they did get it on the state list. But then at the very end this summer, when they were voting on the final budget for roads, there were so many roads on there, and they decided only to fund the state roads, which that's not a state road. So it came off the road list. We haven't given up on that yet. It's just that thing's going to cost a lot of money to do. Okay, so
On this severance tax.
yeah, severance tax.
On the severance tax, Mr. Cartwright is moving to resolve what we have passed to help the road supervisor. And because he said the stone was donated $50,000 a year to the highway department, but their severance tax, we need that severance tax. We're gonna go up for a vote, or probably, will it be the next meeting or sometime soon, to vote on this to try to resolve it or whatever. And we're fighting to try to keep it, because these big trucks are tearing their roads up.
They want to kill it. It passed unanimously last year. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Did we ever get it?
No. So here's what happened. We found out. So I asked about it during the budget process. I said, how come there's no line item in the highway department for the mineral severance tax? Oh, okay. So they put a line item in, and there was, we figured it's 15 cents a ton. And it's like, all the sand pit, the rock quarry, the gravel. I mean, it's all those things, or all those locations. When they mine something out of the ground, that's when they're supposed to pay that tax on it. Last year, the limit was 15 cents. This year, the legislature passed up to 30 cents. They doubled it, but it's incremental. So this year for fiscal 25, 26, you can only raise it. If you're at 15, you can only get 20. So what happened with our package, we passed it, the resolution got signed, it's supposed to, the front office is supposed to send it to the Department of Taxation, and then they notify people that, hey, you owe us tax, send in your form every month with the money. But it never got to them. And normally when it leaves the clerk's office, if it was sent, there's going to be some proof of it. There's going to be, I sent it postal service and here's a receipt. There's nothing in that file. So I don't think it was ever sent. There's no proof of it. I mean, how else would you, what other conclusion can you come to, right? So now, evidently, since we started hammering on this issue here recently, saying, where is it? And then they found that out. And I've also been working with CTAS to try to track it down. My understanding, in the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden that appeared. It's in the Department of Taxation now. The problem that they're saying now that because a new law passed, we have to redo the whole resolution. That ain't true. Because the new law says up to 20 cents. It doesn't say you have to take that now and start all over again, but there's some disagreement. CTAS lawyers ruled that it's up to 20 cents, it's good. The next step, what I understand, is for our county lawyer to say, yep, that's right, and then, deal with the Department of Tax, have the legal opinion sent to them and say, hey, we deal with this, and, I don't even know why the Department of Taxation is fighting it. It's something to do with their computer system, the way they have to enter it. That's their problem, not ours. So I think there's some other issues in the background, though, that are, they want to kill this thing. Other commissioners, and I think the county executive want to kill this thing. You know, which I think that, I don't see, you know, if we need money for roads, why would you want to kill it? We already passed it, so it makes no sense to me. We're going to continue to hammer on this.
And what was, remind me what the estimated revenue?
Yeah, it's, we thought that it was upwards, well, there's like all kinds of numbers. Just kind of knowing how many trucks come out of here every day just up on our mountain. We were thinking it could be as high as 300,000 a year, or, you know, they put 75,000 in the budget, but they wanted to, you know, kind of put the low end in there and then wait to see what came in.
Is that the money that's supposed to go directly to Eric?
Goes directly
From
to
the state to Eric?
Yeah, they take like a little admin fee, like a percentage or
Yeah,
something.
but it doesn't go to
No, it doesn't.
county.
No, it goes straight, I don't think it's passed through the county, I think it goes directly in the road fund. But no, it doesn't get skimmed off.
Yeah, that's what
By Larry when he deposits the check, no, none of that happens here. That happens at the state level, but not, you don't get double skimmed. Yeah, that's yours.
Okay, on this surplus items here that the county had, I run across the issue where Mr. Carter had to give away their compactor to Winter Springs. I contacted this attorney and somehow or another, somebody told him that he needs to go ahead and put that stuff up to surplus for the county to do it. But I made it plain to him in the commission meeting that we will not tolerate him giving our stuff away in this county. We got surplus, let's sell it and get money back for his taxpayers to help relieve some of that tax burden. So I think he listened pretty close on that, so I don't think we'll have, hopefully, no more problems like that. But
The problem still is this is what the surplus is, a handwritten thing that was done last minute. And it has two items from Lewis Chapel here, one compactor, one receiver bin, which we did get replaced. But the ones sitting in the scrapyard aren't from here, so.
There wasn't one that we had.
No, so.
It puts unreadable numbers. My cell phone don't say that. I've got the numbers on my cell phone.
Chester's got the real, those weren't our bins. Nobody knows where our bins really are. One 40-yard container, which they use that countywide, that's the other thing on this list. It still has scrap value, even if the thing, like ours are pretty severely rotted out, if y'all remember. But, you know, there's like a motor and some good hydraulics with one of
We
those.
had a new pump and new box. It was, we wanted it for our compactor to compact our cargo. That's what made me so mad when I come back there. I got sick and found it's gone. We get plants.
So they said at the last meeting, and then this is, the commission has to vote to surplus stuff, and we did. We said, okay, surplus it. But then we asked, how is it going to get disposed? Because there's still scrap value. And they said, sale. And, you know, they didn't say how that's going to get sold. So we'll keep an eye on that. I know the budget committee, I'm on that. And we'll just ask them, you know, it should be auction or just plain out, you know, advertised and sold.
I have one question, that's the county, about these surplus. When you go up to one item like this, and I know it actually was taken without permission, and you ask them, where is the rest of the surplus for 16 years? Can you throw us in, have a good surplus sale to the county? Hey, I'm not across the damn brick wall.
Yeah, there's,
It was unbelievable.
all right, county transfer to road fund. We talked a little bit about this. So this has to do with Winter Rock Road. In the budget, we were going through the budget process. The way it was pitched to us, there was a thing called transfer out. It was $125,000. What they told us was, like, when Eric, the highway supervisor, like, he gets his state funds, like the roads that are designated, like Henson Gap, the primary roads, that's state aid funded. So it comes out of that pot of money. He doesn't get that in like one increment. It's not like he gets that, you know, in one lump sum for the whole year. He has to go in and request that, and he does. And sometimes there's a time lag. So the way this was pitched to us is that money's there, so it doesn't impact him, you know, asphalt roads and stuff like that. He can keep going if the money's not there yet. Well, That's not what the reality that's happened. So that 125,000, he put in an email requesting that money recently, and it was basically to go to Winter Rock Road. Now, y'all know the story of Winter Rock Road, right? We had the electric substation project. There was a lot of, they destroyed that roadbed, basically. I mean, everybody saw that here. And then there was some building up on the road, a lot of heavy trucks went up that road. That road's only rated for 15 ton. And you put a 20 plus ton, load of rock up and down that road like 20, 30 times, it's gonna affect it. And then Mr. Cartwright made a decision to take all that dirt that they were digging, which was supposed to go out of the county. He decided to basically open up a road at the top, like way up top, where the so-called emergency communication tower is supposed to go. That's a significant, I'll call it a road, but the problem is the soil here, it's very sandy, so it's probably not going to compact, right? And they use that for...
It's a muddy mess right now. The road goes up and just kind of ends up at the top, where we've got an area graded. Just kind of road to nowhere. It's got the forest road, the gravel roads to the right that shoots off of the trail road.
There's an awful lot of lots up there. Last time I was there, there's a lot of pink tape marking off lots. So I think that's got a lot to do with that decision.
Everything to do with it.
Yeah, so this 125,000, I can tell you that on the road list, there's only from Henson Gap, 1.8 miles up. That is all that the county, that Eric, that the road supervisor can do legally. Because that's what's on his road list. He can't just arbitrarily do like 6 miles of road. So that's what he's going to use that $125,000 for. And they did a little bit of patching. They did some repair on the road base in the last couple of months, but he's going to try to get that done before the asphalt plant shuts down here, when the temperatures start dropping like next week. He's going to move his equipment. He's finishing up another job. He'll be up here probably, I don't think he's up here yet. I'm going to drive down there today, but probably next week. He'll be doing that.
Only reason that he just going 1.8 miles is
because that's what's officially on the road list.
that's the only part the county owns.
That's the only, yes.
So the other part of it, they don't own.
Private road.
It's a private road. Up near you, it's private, right, where it turns gravel.
Yeah.
But then, the way it works, the way I understand it, you correct me, because you know more about this than I do, but like if you want to get, some road done, there's like, it has to be at least 3 houses or something on it, right? And then it has to be in certain condition to be transferred to county. You fill out the paperwork, all the homeowners got to sign up to give that right away to the county, right? Because on our deeds, like everybody's got 25 feet from the center of the road. Everybody's deed has that because it's 50 foot is the way they plan it. They may not do a 50-foot road, but that's, the right of way.
I'm thinking this year, I put up a fence and the gates. I leave the gate open. The land in front of my house, I own, to the middle of the road. The others, the landowner across from me. And they tore that road completely off. They dips in it so bad. So I just shut it down. I make do my 30 days or 45 days to make it legal. I think that's what it has to be.
30 days.
Yeah. I'm keeping it there. And when I get ready to shut it, I'm going to shut it. And they're going to be a lot of stink race about it. And I don't really care. That's my land, and it's going to stop. There's just comes a time when you've got to be a man that's going to fight these people. You cannot fight them the way they do. They fight dirty, they fight behind the law, they make up stuff and just do whatever they want. And that's what this county does. But that land right now belongs to me. And I will stop it. And I have stopped most of it. And I've stopped most of tearing it up. The trucks that go up there to do work, I don't have an issue with that. People building houses or whatever, I don't have that at all. But they're tearing the road up. Don't be long. I'm going to be shutting that road on Friday nights. There's nobody got any bigs up there at midnight when out on the road whatsoever. So I'm going to shut it. And when somebody else will do it, next time I'll put me a guard out there and I'll guarantee it'll stay shut. I don't care if people that own land out there or people that have a legal right to go out there. It's open all the time. But I'm done with it. I'm tired of it. And until you people Not me, you. Make up your mind, you're gonna get tired of it and do something about it. There's nothing ever gonna be done, period.
I think a lot of people get that way about.
I know that, I disagree with you. Michigan right now, they're having problems up there with the Muslims.
Right.
And the ex-military's going in there, and they're just about to war with one another. They want to run out of the country until we, the people, they don't own this, we do. They just stand up to these people, and they're crooked, doing all kinds of things. And they own the judges and the lawyers and everything down there, so you ain't gonna do nothing legally. You can't do anything to them. But that land that I was on my house, it's mine. And I will defend it with everything I own.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Sir?
We agree.
And you got marked really good?
Yeah.
Well, like I said.
Oh, it's marked very plainly.
It's good.
Yeah, it makes it very plain.
Yeah. But if you have a problem going out there, anything that you need to do out there?
Well, let me tell you what I was told about the rest of that road is, so all that destruction was there, you know, it was authorized by the county to hold all that dirt up there, so it contributed to the road not just down here, but all the way up, right? So these people are bonded. You know, the trucks that did that, it's a company called Smith. Out of Cookville, I think they were. We got pictures of those trucks sitting up there last year. We went up there, and you know, in my opinion, the county should have went after their bond, and that didn't happen. Eric tried to do it, but you know, he has to go to the county lawyer just to write the letter, and then you know they have to go through that process. And
Well, you have to be a blooming idiot. If you didn't look at it, they just dump topsoil on top of topsoil. This is a mountain, we got stone under it. Until you clean all that under topsoil off it, and put gravel down on it, and put a good base on it, it's just gonna push down. They built it, I'm serious. You're a total idiot if you believe that. I'll tell you.
It's a piled up dirt path.
It's all in, this dirt, and it's gonna wash out and just spread out and
It
go.
already is.
It's
it already,
a waste
as
of
soon as it
time.
rains, I mean, it's just like last year. It was just a mess.
He already said it already. I was up there the other day, I see a lot of mud washing out in the woods and stuff, and it's pollution.
Okay. Yeah, move on. All right, so that $125,000 that transfer out that's going on Winter Rock, to me, now the whole county taxpayers are paying for that. When it should have been nipped in the bud and they should have gone after those companies, after their bonds.
I totally agree.
Okay, so just so y'all know, you know, and the way it was pitched to us, like when we were going through the budget, is what I said, it was transfer out to, you know, provide that bridge until state aid money comes in when it was asphalt all summer. Well, that's not what it's going towards.
So they're not going to go after that bond money?
Not that I know of, no. This is just the, you know, this is how they're going to bail themselves out of this by taking taxpayer money instead of going after that bond. So now that $125,000, that in my opinion could have been used to finish, you know, other roads, right, is now going to be used over there. So
It's just gonna go 1.8 miles, am I correct?
it's only going 1.8 miles. Eric can't do anything else. He could lose his job.
That's right up to the hang gliders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
treetop,
It's actually painted on the road.
just a little bit down past that.
It's painted on the road out there, you can see it's
Yeah.
I'm always at the end of the dirt road.
Okay. So.
After it turns gravel, last place on the left, last residence you see.
I got this.
And this is a good ways down there.
Yeah. They're going down there.
Beautiful spot.
So I will tell you that there is a road committee that we have been asking for last 2 cycles, 6 months, because you got something in there. We were supposed to have a road committee meeting this, and it did. It was in the minutes during the last commission meeting, because we brought it up again. And it's now scheduled for, just as you have that.
I don't know if it was December,
I think it's the 5th. I'll look at my phone here at the end, I can tell you. But now that's scheduled, so if you all have issues, you need to go to that road committee meeting. I would highly recommend that you all show up, because I mean, I mean, this has been going on for a while. Eric's got a road right out here that he wants to privatize.
I'm trying to save the county money.
They won't even answer his phone
We're bad
calls. Anyway, you just gotta keep at it. I mean, you can't give up or then you don't get anything.
Well,
So the Emergency Services Committee, wait, we gotta move this one through. All right, so I'm on that committee. Ambulance service RFP, the contract is up, I think it's June, because it was a 5-year +1 option years, and then we exercised the last option this past year. So we have to go out and compete for an ambulance service. Puckett's got it now. There's a draft RFP that we were presented at the committee. I can tell you it's based on a really good, like, best practice, a county that actually did it right. We're not going to be in the same situation as we were with Erlanger. It's going to be like a real RFP with, you know, selection criteria, you know, everything that should be in there. And then we're still working through that. We saw the draft. I haven't had a chance to go through it. I recommended that we use Maury County as the gold standard. ISC test, I did some hunting on the internet. That one is the one that's the model that hopefully, I just got to deal with that. I haven't read through it yet, but hopefully they don't make too many changes out of that one. Emergency communications tower, I asked about that again. They were supposed to, the last meeting we had here, they said that the state was moving towards contract. So that's a nebulous status update. And there's nothing new on that. I asked about that the other night from our emergency director. Opioid overdose response plan. So there was like a big spike in deaths and overdoses in the neighboring county, Grundy and May. So they didn't have any like formalized written, you know, who does what, where's the hospital and this, you know, what happens, like when that happens in your county. So this tabletop exercise, they have a draft response plan. It's pretty good. We've been participating, the opioid committee members, the sheriff's on there, the health department director, a couple other folks. We go on this call, it's like 60 people on there, but it's a lot of different agencies. They're going to do a tabletop exercise on that draft December 4th. It's open to the public if you want to, you know, come to that and watch. I don't know. I can send you the draft document. They're going to try to just flesh it out. There's still some blanks in it. And that's a good thing. We kind of asked for that because, you know, we do have some hot spots in this county, and, you know, I think everybody knows drugs is an issue here, not just here, it's everywhere. However, I am happy to report that we are no longer a hot spot in Lewis Chapel. We were a hot spot for overdoses and deaths, and we've been so-called clean since January of this year. So that, you know, we're going to move the resource that we had here that sits here every Wednesday, and she rotates around the county. We're going to move her to another hot spot, and we're negotiating that right now, probably to the Signal, Lone Oak area. They don't want her there, but we'll get it done. That's all I have out of there, emergency services. Yeah.
Can I say something about that property on that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the RLP for the ambulance service, when they were discussing that, I asked people from the emergency services about why we couldn't get Puckett out of the hospital, or we could have a hospital for people that need it. And the man from Puckett agreed that he would move up that property. We lost $400,000, and then we found out, you know, the people denied about buying for Puckett. So then we finally got that cleared out. So then we found out that they are going to block the road on the other end, which would kill the property. You know, the ambulance service couldn't go in there like that. So hopefully I'll give you an update on the road, if we can use it for $400,000 piece of property, or if it's just a...
Yeah, the city just made that decision to block the road.
Yeah, and we got $400,000 piece of property that they denied it was Puckett. I went through water when he did it, and then he sat there and tell me, no.
That just, yeah, it just happened to come up in the committee the other day. We didn't even know it. Somebody mentioned it and, yeah.
That was coming
So there's
back.
not a lot of coordination there. That's all right. So I am pushing, because I'm to make sure that there's an option in that contract that they're bidding on that $400,000 property we bought, the Williams property there, 2-point-something acres. It's got an old house on it, an old shed and stuff. So, you know, if somebody wants to take that over, I think it ought to be at their expense. I don't think the county ought to sink any money into it. There's some commissioners that disagree, but, I mean, here's the thing, when we did the hospital bid last year, Puckett was at 5,000 square feet. The hospital's got about 10,000, the ambulance building's about 5,000. Because they, you know, they put it in, one of the bidders wanted to use that space and they understood from the county that Puckett could move to that other property that the county bought. Problem was is there was nothing in the RFP that said how that's going to be done, when that's going to happen, how long it's going to take. So how do you bid on something like that when you don't know that? So it really complicated, like, because one of the bidders, like Park Ridge, wanted to put extra services in there, which we need. And, you know, they put in their bid, their best guess on it, but I'm going to push for that building, you know, that the new ambulance, you know, whoever gets it, goes to that property, because that's what the plan was. That's why.
Because they're currently taking up a 5,000 square foot space.
Yeah.
And what do they operate out of that? Like, what do they need that kind of space for?
They got 2 ambulances in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they...
Big ambulances.
Clearly.
Big.
And you know, that space, it makes sense to me that, you know, we have we could pull a trigger on, that we're, like, when we put that, when that lease was signed a few months ago for Erlanger, we have to wait a year, but we can give them notice and then put out another competition. Which, you know, if you look at the growth of this county, they're already overtaxed. They only have, like, they say 5 beds, but it's like more like 3 maybe, and a couple, you know, kind of portable out in the hallway sort of. You know, they're not private over there. And the county needs, I think, the additional services. We saw from the other, you know, when Park Ridge bid it, they laid it all out. And, you know, they could use that space. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you informed on that as we move through that process. Road committee, that's you.
Okay, the road committee, I did put a request in for a meeting, on the last meeting we had. I was denied the request twice. So I reckon in December we'll come back and approve the road that we're on. I've never got a good explanation why they denied me a request to have a meeting with them. So if we don't get done in December, I'll have a request and I'll be there. And I'll make sure to be at that meeting.
December 8th, 5 p.m. Courthouse.
All right.
And bear with me.
December what?
8th.
And then any other road issues, you know, like, I think Winter Rock needs to be.
Well, I want to say one thing on Winter Rock too, and I think it needs to be very expressly concerned that $125,000 taxpayer money is going towards that one. It never should have.
Yes.
It's TVA and SBA. It was a dual program. TVA paid for the transmission line, Squatchy Valley Electric paid for the substation. They in turn hired Hamilton Excavation, which should have been bonded, and then they subcontracted out to Smith Construction to haul the dirt off the site. Now there's 2 bonds that should have been attacked. If those people wasn't bonded, Squatchy Valley Electric should have been responsible for the cost of fixing the road. Now, when our county executive stepped in and decided to haul this dirt to the back of the road, it's not dirt, it's sand. It'll cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to remove it. I've been up there 2 or 3 times to look at it. I've built many roads. It's nothing but a pure problem. Without, you know, going into that part of it, I can tell you that Smith Construction did not haul that sand for free. There were several loads come over directly across from the distillery to use for fill. They charge $250 a load, so I'm wondering if there's already taxpayer money used to haul that dirt to the back of Little Rock, because from them hauling from the substation less than a mile, they charge $250. There's no telling how many hundreds of dump truck loads went back there.
Oh, God.
And nobody's gonna haul stands for free.
You can't put,
Thousands.
So it really worries me, it going from $10,000 to a $25,000 approval. Because I about guarantee if you track the checks down to Smith Construction or Smith Hauling or Hampton Construction, it was under that $10,000 and probably a bunch of checks.
I
Yeah,
totally agree with you. You're absolutely correct.
So we've already paid for that.
Yes.
And then we'll pay another $125.
because it probably came up, audit team from state's gonna be down in the county next week, but that probably, what I've seen in the past is it'll come up as an audit flag, and then it'll come up in front of the committee and the commission to vote. You know, they tried last year to get it raised to 15,000 because they bought a bunch of lawnmowers, and lawnmowers cost more than 10,000.
Well, and anybody in here don't know, the one that does our auditing within the county, that he is our pro temp, as well as the one that's raising all the fuss about getting rid of the sandwich tax and everything.
but I will do one checking on y'all. Is what day they gonna close it, contract down on that, the power station? I need to bring that here at this meeting where, everybody will know before they do the final pay on the thing. Now, when you do that final pay without a complaint, it's over. But maybe that'll give somebody a chance to, you know, at least open a complaint with PBA and the electric power. I'll try to find that out probably tomorrow. And Jerry, you can come by and holler at me out there if I can get one.
Okay,
Well, I'll tell you, try to find out. Now, I haven't been able to get the information, who had the contract, who was the project manager on it.
Well, I don't know.
TVA is gonna lock their hands with anything from the transmission line. They're gonna say that substation is squatching out of
That's exactly right.
I've got some men working knowledge on somehow. I know two of the ones that put bids in on it, so.
well, where they dug across the road too, they've never fixed that. That's gonna be on Eric and taxpayers. Okay,
If they ever do anything, I wish y'all let me know. But they haven't done anything with us up there at all. And
You mean- you mean SFAC?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they ain't gonna fix that. They think they're done. Personnel committee, this is something that came up last year during the budget process, is like we arbitrarily give raises at their percentage, like 4%, 6%, and it's across the board. We haven't looked at our personnel policy since I think 1996. It needs to be updated. It needs to be, then they need to decide like how we're gonna do this so it's consistent across the departments. You know, maybe we go to a pay scale thing, they have to decide that. We can't, as commissioners, we can't get down to that level again because it's in the departments. But we do have responsibility for county level policies, how bonuses happen, that kind of stuff. You know, FMLA, Federal Family Medical Leave Act, that none of that stuff's in any of the policy documents because that all stuff in the updates happened after 96 and nobody's touched those documents. The personnel committee was supposed to meet on Monday, but we didn't. Has not been rescheduled. I'm on that committee. I'm going to keep asking until we get one. We're supposed to have this done before the budget process starts here. Technically, it starts in January, but we don't really start doing anything till April. Opioid committee, we went through a third round grant. What we're trying to get is like when people come out of jail or if they're trying to transition back to a normal life, there's these places called sober house or transition houses, transitional recovery houses. We don't have one in the county. We need one. So there was an applicant, excuse me. It's a high-risk venture because these guys are a startup. So we've been spending, I think we started this back in June. We're almost 6 months at it. They failed to meet the requirements of when we went through the second round of grant. They qualified now, but with a lot of help. And they asked for $86,000. We authorized about $75,000. That met the requirements. We're writing a performance-based contract. The money's going to get doled out quarterly, but it's got to all be justified in writing, receipts, all that kind of stuff. The county's not used to doing that kind of contracting. I'm working with folks up in Nashville and even the attorneys up in Nashville to make sure this thing gets structured right. Okay, that's, Sheriff Bill's not here tonight. Y'all know we had, I don't know, do we want to bring up what happened up here in the mountain?
We've had a lot happen here.
Huh?
Had a lot happen here.
We had a lot happen here. Yeah.
Well,
We had another one on, is it Signal? Where did they?
on
Yeah,
site,
Signal.
what about that woman?
No.
Oh, it's a what?
We had a murder over here, and then we had another one this week up on Signal, like Monday night.
Before it's on the field.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it started in
yeah. So that's kind of what's going on here. You know, the service or the,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in case anyone don't stay over for the community center meeting, the 11/29/25, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, Gabrielle Celebration of Life will be up here at the community center.
And that's for.
That's Gabby that was marking over here. It's open to anybody, so if you know anybody that knew Gabby, Pastor Smith got her running everything that day, and they're just going to have a celebration of life. She touched a lot of people in this community, so.
And he's also going to collect that people like $1 donate $1 to go from flowers or something for her. So you can give them up just $1. To get her a good bunch of flowers. So that's,
all right, so that's all we have. Christmas is is the fourth Thursday, so we're not going to meet there just like Thanksgiving. So we normally back it up a week. Next meeting will be December 18th, 6 p.m.
Hang on, I may have stepped out at the wrong time.
Sorry.
Is this the time I can bring up something?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I walked in the bathroom and came out and you were speaking.
The whole world changed while you were in.
It happens all the time. It's real simple, nothing compared to some of the big problems y'all deal with, but back in the summer I noticed all the trash that was dumped out here in front of the old chapel, the stone chapel out here, and pulled back there after looking at it for a couple of weeks. Of course, everything was all grown up. It's real grown up right now. It is much worse than I thought from the road. And so I made a couple of calls to law enforcement. My name is Jeff Stiles, I live in Picnic, and neighbor Chester's. I made a couple of calls, nobody got back with me, so I called Keith Cartwright. We went back and forth quite a bit. He got back with me fairly promptly, and he said it was the fire department. Somebody set a fire inside the chapel, and the fire department, he didn't say which fire department, who it was, but he said they pulled all that stuff out to keep it from re-smoldering and catching it again. So I said, so the fire department dumped all that stuff that's out there right now. It's a lot. I got pictures, you're going to see them. And he said, yeah. He said, I said, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to come file a report or complain or something like that? We need to get cleaned up before it gets to be wintertime. And he said, I think that belongs to the Thomas Brothers. And it turns out it is. I thought it might be the churches. I wasn't sure, but he said that he contacted, I guess, Jerome Thomas contacted him. That was back on the 1st, and I contacted him again today knowing this meeting was going on, and he said he'd done all he could do, that the county couldn't do anything for it. So I actually just asked him, I kind of got the impression, probably the answer is no, but somebody had an inside call over there, because now the leaves are down and all the greenery is gone, and every Tuesday and Thursday when somebody comes up to the convenience center right across the road and it's closed, that big old piles of trash over there is going to say dump right here. And it's going to get bigger, it's going to grow very quickly. I mean, that's one thing I do know. You got a couple of small piles, one big pile, and people think it's okay, and we're going to end up with a mountain of trash. It would take somebody with a loader 15 minutes. It would take 4 or 5 people with trucks a day and a half. It's a lot. Listen, I got pictures, you're going to see them. And
It's private property, that's the problem.
I understand that. I understand that. So maybe somebody had an inside line to Mr. Thomas or somebody over there.
That would be Mr. Keith Cartwright has the inside line with.
Well, I got the text. He
The
just said.
minus part of that is, the the Thomases will not let nobody come on their property and do that.
Yeah, that's,
So that's,
Well,
that's
I
my,
mean, whatever pressure we got to apply to them, just step it up and make it a priority because it's gonna get bigger.
yeah, I'll talk to Keith and see if I can get, some kind of people to go over to the county and donate a day for all of us to take somewhere.
I was gonna go talk to the pastor, see if he wanted to get together, a volunteer. Because we're gonna all be driving by it in eyesores.
So we still got to get permission.
And the thing is, I mean, whoever set the fire, and Chester told me this back a while, we had a purposeful set fire on the power cut back in the summer. And up at the end of Window Rock, where that old Quonset hut is up there, somebody set fire to that thing and melted it to the ground. That old metal Quonset hut, there was that spooky looking place up there overlooking Chapel Hill Church on the bluff. It is now melted all the way down, and there's a tree in there that got set on fire, a log the size of this table. So we might have a little fire bug running right now. I was thinking it'd just be people cooking meth, but you don't cook meth over a tree.
No.
So somebody did that on purpose. That's all I have.
They've all used that piece of property up there. I used to know it got on. They've all used that piece of, what, if somebody can just catch a tag, that's like a garbage situation.
Yeah.
If you catch someone dumping garbage, just get their tag, or if you find a name, call the state highway patrol, and they'll take them to court and then have to pay a fine. However, they won't clean the mess up. You gotta clean it up. But I went through that. They don't.
I tell you, I got all Scooby-Doo on it and went out there and actually dug through the trash. I came out with 4 or 5 numbers and addresses. I showed one to Chester. I said, this guy lives in Pikeville. And there's even a Polaroid picture of a girl. I said, shit, I got all kinds of evidence. And then when they told me that's what it was, that's just stuff that's been up there in the church. And they just dumped it out. So I mean, it's a small thing, but it could be a big thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, it could get worse.
I'm going to go ahead and close this meeting because I don't want to get into the community center's time. I want to thank you all for coming out. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you. Be safe when you're on the roads, and we'll see you here next month.
Thank you.
So.
Yep.